We got us a corpse and cartridge occasion.
If you've been watching the channel over the past year, Reina is the character that I've been speculating the most about. Probably like 5 or 6 videos just trying to understand what this character will be. Replacing Heihachi, killing Jin, killing Kazuya, how strong is her? This is just the questions I was asking, because when you have the possibility of a new Mishima being thrown into the fray, you gotta ask these questions. Because for Lars Alexander, when he showed up in Tekken 6, he defeated Heihachi, he was equals with Kazuya, and pretty much the same for Jin. So when another Mishima shows up, regardless of if she's younger or not, you still have to ask the question how powerful she is. And I think the fact that she is younger, the fact that she is not fully, strengthened, that is going to play a role into what we see in the future and also what we see now. Her introduction into Tekken 8 is very simple. She shows up to Jin and she's pretending to be very helpless, very innocent. The typical, kind of like Alyssa. She's acting like Alyssa, like Zhao Yu in this moment. Jin completely ignores her because it's like a waste of time. Like, he's a man on a mission. Jin Kazama is one of the most powerful and important people on the planet, and he's not going to stop just for anyone, right? So he completely ignores her, and she says at the final moment that I am your opponent in the next match. I love how when she says these things or when she's doing these things, her face animation changes. She goes from putting on an act to you being able to see her true self. That's something that she does kind of frequently in here. Is like she shows like what she wants you to see, but then when the spotlight's not on her, you can get a glimpse into her true mindset. Even though she was featured a lot in the story of Tekken 8, we really didn't get that much of a look at her. This was just her introduction. Once the match actually begins, I find it very interesting that Alyssa is up above and she's kind of analyzing everyone. She's kind of cheating. She's looking at the opponents and trying to figure out who they are, what they do, anything they can, and pass that information along. For Reina, nothing comes up. Yes, she tells Jin that she's a Mishima Zaibatsu Polytechnical graduate, but that doesn't say anything. There's like 6 characters in the world of Tekken who all went to that same high school. So it doesn't say much, it just gives you a little bit. The unknown rookie is what the announcer calls her. Lee and Alyssa comes to the conclusion that she is an assassin sent by G-Corp to kill Jin. This is how out of the blue this character has shown up. As the fight begins, I really want to analyze what she's saying, how she's behaving, how she's acting. She is talking to Jin, and this is her real self. I believe in this moment, she believes that she actually can defeat Jin. Like, this is the first time these two characters are meeting or fighting, and she is like really confident, cocky almost, and she feels like she can actually defeat Jin Kazama in this moment. So she is showing her true self and her true intentions, but also keeping a lot of her secrets hidden. She starts to use her Mishima technique, and this catches Jin Kazama by surprise. Later on in the story, it does the same exact thing to Kazuya Mishima. It's so cool how like the Mishima technique is something that like only Mishimas know. And when another Mishima sees that, they're like, wait, what? She shows off her Mishima technique, and then she really rocks Jin Kazama. This unlocks his devil form, at least temporarily, and he basically just starts going to work on her. At the end of this fight, she basically gets beat up and she quits. I think this is also very important because she is kind of understanding like, okay, Jin is really more powerful than I thought. So let me hold off on attacking him and let me just bow out. Let me see how this thing plays. I got a taste of the power, and now let's just, see where it goes. After the match, these two characters run into each other once again in the hallway. This time, Jin is looking at her totally different. She says, I have a favor to ask you, and Jin Kazama focuses solely on the fact that she's using Mishima technique and says, does that have anything to do with the technique you use? She plays it off as if it's just something that she learned on the internet. So right here, you can already tell this character is not being like truthful. This character is hiding something. This character is plotting, planning, sitting back and watching, testing Jin's power, seeing how much she can get away with and almost how much she can learn. In these brief moments, we can see her manipulating characters and the story to put herself in a position that's close to Jin, but also she's trying to get close to Kazuya as well. Once the tournament shows up, because I want you guys to pay attention to this, in the Coliseum, she's out of the tournament, but she is still hanging out because she's with Team Jin. So when Kazuya shows up and he takes Azazel's power, she is looking forward to this. She wants to see if she could take down Kazuya, and who knows what her next step is. All of this is just kind of like testing her limits and seeing how far she can push herself. As the chaos is going on, she gets Kazuya's attention. She throws Alyssa's hand at him and then she punches him. Literally knocks Kazuya back a step, and he's like, hold on, who are you? Everyone is just being blindsided by this character, because at this point Jin Kazama just has a ragtag team of allies from all over the world, and this one is starting to make themselves known amongst the crowd. This battle with Kazuya is kind of important because when she loses, she says, still not enough from the looks of it. She immediately starts to take more of a defensive posture, but what I think she's doing in this moment, if I just had to try to put the pieces together, seeing the ending and her unlock her devil form, I think that's basically what she's trying to do throughout this whole thing, is unlock her powers. We saw that anytime because Jin literally says it, every time he got into like a sticky situation, he almost died or something like that, the devil gene, which we now know after playing the game, was not trying to possess him or take him over, but was trying to save him. I think Reina knows this. She knows that the only way she can unlock her devil gene is by a near-death experience. What I think is by her attacking both Jin and Kazuya so directly, she's trying to unlock that form. She's trying to unlock her devil gene, and every time she fails or every time it doesn't work, she regresses back to her plan, hiding, portraying this image. I love when she meets Nina. When she meets Nina, this is once again when we see her true self. Nina's on the battlefield just doing her thing, and Reina walks up knowing full well who this character is. And I wonder if she learned this from Heihachi or anything. Like, she has so much information and we don't know where or how she got it. Same thing with Kazuya, but that's a topic for another video. Nina basically figures out once again that she's a Mishima, and I think it's so interesting that the characters isn't focusing more on this. When Kazuya first found out Lars was a Mishima, he literally cut all plans and stormed out, literally in Tekken 6. So the fact that everyone's realizing she's a Mishima and they aren't like raising more suspicions, like, wait, one, what are you doing here? Two, like, we never knew Heihachi had more children. Like, I feel like there should be more questions asked, and Jin is not asking it. Lars, Lee, Kazuya, Nina, no one is. Nina Williams says that her job with G Corporation is finished. Reina says, well, why don't you work for me? Once again, showing that she's planning something for the future. When Kazuya does show up and he starts blasting everyone with lasers, Reina literally steps in the way. She could run, she could hide, she could try to escape, but she steps directly in the line of fire. She gets absolutely destroyed by it, and as we see later in the story, her eye turns red from it. What I think is so interesting and what I'm still trying to process is Jin and Kazuya's final battle. Both of their devil genes was wiped out, and Jin said something like the devil gene is gone or something like that. And I don't know if he meant just their devil gene or if he meant period, like Azazel doesn't exist. Azazel is creator of the devil gene. He literally empowers people with it. So if he doesn't exist, how can a devil gene exist? And the reason why that's important is because at the end we see that Reina stands up and she has this weird devil form. She says, Heihachi, my father, on my life, I swear out, and at that time she switches immediately into her devil, what we assume is her devil form. Now, a lot of people are drawing comparisons with this and Kazumi because it doesn't look like, it kind of could be Kazuya, it kind of could be like a Jin kind of thing, but it looks totally different, and it makes you wonder what her next goal is. Jin and Kazuya at this point, it seems like no longer have access to their devil powers. She now has her devil powers, which would make her absolutely stronger, but also what she could do is regress back into that persona. If she really wanted to, she can continue to be allies with everyone and scheme and plot behind everyone's back. her future really is like her own creation because no one's seen this. At least from what it shows, she's the only one who survived because she's the only one who have the devil gene. All other people around her were wiped out by Kazuya Mishima. I think Tekken 8 for the character Reina acts as her introduction to the story. It's ending Jin's and Kazuya's era of reigning with the devil gene, and it's introducing a new character. It's kind of flipping the roles. They have been the ones who's been using the devil gene for all these years to oppress everyone, and now they're humans, as Jin said. Now Reina is the one who has the power, and in Tekken 8, she's kind of been scouting everyone, Nina and whatnot, trying to find allies, and I'm sure in Tekken 9 or the future, DLC, whatever, this is going to be her era and her taking control. Regardless, this is just my ideas on the character Reina so far. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.